Hey guys, it is time for another monthly reading wrap-up and I am so excited. If you are new here and if you have accidentally clicked on this video and you have no idea who I am or what's going on, hi, I am RYEMI and every single month I do book reviews of everything I have read during that month while I make pages for all the books in my reading journal. And I have opinions. And boy, we are in for a treat today. Don't get me wrong, July was an awesome month for me reading-wise. I was reading books from my shelves, I was reading your recommendations, I was tackling the most scary books on my TBR and some that have been on my TBR for more than 5 years. I was finishing some series, I DNF'd a book for the first time this year. That is a win, guys, because I usually suck it in and finish a book. Also, I got out of a mild reading slump, and I call all of that a win. But still, some not so popular opinions will be shared here today. Okay guys, as always, I need to update the calendar. There is not much to update this time because I was setting up this page quite late in the month. And while you see 10 book covers in here, I am not going to talk about all of them in today's video because I included the Wisdom of Crowds and the Great Change in the last month's reading wrap-up since it made sense to make one full spread for the remaining of the series. And then the Cruel Prince and the Priory of the Orange Tree. I was talking about those just last week, so if you are interested in that, there is a link down in the description for those. Anyway, let's start with my reading reviews. There on the left side you can see my review page for the Priory of the Orange Tree. I absolutely love it. I rarely use yellows and oranges. I definitely should do that more often. And guess what? I am doing yellow and orange spread for the Prison Healer as well. And that's the book we are going to talk about right now. I have read Prison Healer only because I needed to read a book with word heal in the title. And oh boy, was that so hard to find something. You can imagine what you find when you look for heal in the title. This was basically only fantasy book I could find, and so I gave it a go. This is young adult fantasy and romance. We are following 17-year-old Kiva, who has spent the last 10 years of her life in the Zalindov prison that is famous for being quite deadly for its prisoners. After some fortunate/unfortunate circumstances, she became a dedicated prison healer because she remembers herbs her dad used as a healer from when she was 7 years old. Yeah, how much do you remember from when you were that old? Yeah, the logic is not there much, but okay. What's even less logical is that when the rebel queen is captured, she is ill and unconscious, and Kiva is charged with healing her and making her well enough to undergo the magical trials. It's a series of elemental challenges, so like trial by fire, water, and so on. And Kiva decides to undergo the challenges instead of the Rebel Queen for no apparent reason, even when she has no affinity to magic, supposedly. And you need magic to survive those because these trials were quite brutal. And I am not sure how possible to survive for the Queen of Rebels unless she had affinity to all types of magic, so to all elements. But I let it go since I was quite interested in the story and in the individual trials. The writing was fine, it was engaging at times, even when sometimes repetitive. Yes, we do know what the message says and you don't need to tell us 500 times. And in the midst of all of that, the new mysterious inmate is brought in and Kiva is immediately smitten. Their relationship, I would say, made many people kind of disappointed, but not me. I was having a good time. They were basically friends. And there was nothing really offending about any of them, except maybe lack of any spark between them or anything. But it was fine. It was the least bad thing about this book. Anyway, I quite enjoyed the atmosphere of this story because we are in prison. And I do enjoy a good trial in my books, so that was another plus for this book. I was having a good time, even when it was quite slow-paced, and we followed a 17-year-old girl with her repetitive thoughts, which can be exhausting at times. While there was nothing much happening, as I said, I was having a good time, and this could have been a solid 4-star read until the ending. The last few pages where we get a reveal about Kiva. I did not mind the twist itself. It was predictable from page 5 or something. My problem is that it negated the entire story. Her inner monologue, which the story was made of. So it appears she has been lying the entire time, but it's all been in her thoughts. So she has been lying to herself the entire time. It does not make sense at all. There is just no logic in that. As I said, the plot twist was not that twisty, but my issue is that nothing in the book led to that. In no way, shape or form. There was no hint, no mention, no action, not a single thought by Kiva was spared for the reveal to make sense. Not once throughout the entire story, and if I had a physical book in my hand, I would throw it across the room. I kid you not. I was just so angry at the author for doing that. I suspect it was there for the shock value, and it appears to be working because after I have written my thoughts on this book so I could talk to you guys about it, I looked at Goodreads and so many reviews are raving about the ending, and I'm sitting here like with disgust on my face. Not for the people who love this book, like you can like whatever you want, but for the book itself. So yeah, you can probably tell that I am not going to continue the series because I do not want to be let down again. And I gave this book 3 stars, but now that I think about it, maybe I was a bit too generous. And one more thing, this is a young adult story, but it contains a lot of triggering events, so please make your research if you are going to read this book. I got kind of fired up. What a great start to the video. Anyway, next I'm going to make a page for the Toll and Gleanings. The Toll is the 3rd book in the Arc of the Sight series, and the Gleanings is the accompanying book of the short stories. And I am so happy I finally finished this series. It is a young adult sci-fi dystopian series with a bit of romance. In case you don't know what this is about, I of course can't talk about the 3rd book in the series, but let's talk about the first one. So the first book starts 200-ish years after the last human had died a normal death. Since then, humanity has conquered death, and no one dies of hunger or disease or in any other way unless you are chosen for a gleaning by this site. And sites are fellow humans who went through the training and are the only ones who can end life. They do so in order to keep the size of the population under control. In the first book, we are following 2 main sites. They began as an apprentices in the first book, but in the 3rd one, there is so much more going on with many more characters to follow. And this 3rd book is so different from the beginning of the story. So much has happened, and I was so excited to continue the series, but for some reason it took me so long to do so. Maybe I was scared I would not like the ending. That might have been it. But guys, I did actually like this book so much. I was glued to it. I could not put it down, and I have read the last 230-ish pages in one day. I was so into it, which did not happen in years, guys. Of course, there were some things I was not the biggest fan of, and some things were left unanswered, but I am okay with it mostly. What was also interesting about this book is the format. We have the main story, of course, but there are also some public letters between sites or side doms written as reactions to what is going on. There are also, I guess, research papers and kind of funny commentary on those. There are some testaments, there are Thunderheads dialogues, Thunderhead is kind of an AI that makes the world function and keeps an eye out for almost everything. There was just so much happening and it was all slowly clicking into place. And this last book made it even more apparent that Sight, or the Arc of Sight, is and will be one of my favorite series ever. The short story collection, the Gleanings, author did work on that with some other people. To be honest, I was not the biggest fan of those. All of these stories were 3 stars for me, so like, okay, but the last 2 I actually liked. So at least there's that. Okay, and that is, I guess, everything for the Toll and the Gleanings. Next, let's talk about One Dark Window. People's favorite. And I don't know, for some reason, guys, I know. Okay, first thing first, I don't know why, but I keep thinking that this is called One Dark Widow. I don't know, window for some reason does not work for me there. And this was actually the 3rd attempt at me finishing this book. First 2 times, I don't think I have gotten through more than 2 chapters. So anyway, I knew that my friend had the audio version of this book, so I asked her if I could listen to it, and I think that is the only way I could have ever finished this book. So this is a gothic fantasy romance set in a kingdom called Blunder that is surrounded by forests and mist, and that mist can kill you. From what I understood, there is the forbidden magic and also card magic. Our main character happens to join the quest of collecting all 12 Providence cards to cure the forbidden magic. That magic appears after high fever in children, and when they are found out, they are disposed of. She and her family were able to hide the fact she had that fever, but since then there is a monster in her mind, and every time she asks the monster to help her, it gets stronger. And what is she doing during the entire book? She keeps asking the monster to help her, even though most of the times she just needs to run and not be stupid. Then she is surprised with the outcome. Oh god. It was quite atmospheric and eerie, and I would say perfect for when you want to forget about extremely hot and humid weather outside. I can imagine it would be even more atmospheric reading this in September or October once the weather gets colder. But except knowing that there is a creepy forest and mist, we know nothing much about the world. I was interested in the story enough to finish it, and I am glad I finally read it, but I have no desire to continue with the series. And I think Rachel Gillig is simply just not for me. She has also written The Night and the Moth. In that book, I also enjoyed the atmosphere so much, but there is nothing more I can remember from that book, so I guess this was the last book from that author read by me, but she is very well allowed, and yeah, as I said in the beginning, I have opinions, and my taste in books is usually quite different from everyone else's. So yeah, if you are interested in the story, please give it a go. I am not saying it is bad, it is just not my cup of tea. Okay, and just like that, we are on the last page of today. In here, I'm going to do 2 reviews on 1 page because I don't need to write much for any of these books. First, I am decorating the bottom part of this page, and here I'm going to talk about the Decomposition book. It is queer gothic horror, and it sounded so interesting. We have Savannah, who is hiding in her parents' empty lake house after falling out with her best friend. She is deeply upset about that. She keeps mixing drugs and alcohol, and one morning she wakes up in the woods next to the dead body. The dead body has a journal, and she's called Ava. Instead of calling the police, Savannah decides to read Ava's journal. It turns out Ava went on a hiking trip with 2 of her colleagues and they got lost. Journal entries were gripping and interesting, and they kept me going until the 78% of the story, where I could not stand Savannah's POV anymore and I DNF'd the book. I was considering to DNF this at around 30%, but something happened there and I wanted to see how it will affect the story. And it turns out, guys, that maybe if that did not happen, I might have been more inclined to finish the book. What a twist, yeah. Anyway, Savannah has OCD, so her POV was mostly spiraling in thoughts and it was quite repetitive, which does not make for an enjoyable reading experience for me. I would still probably finish the book. It was not even that long, but the writing was just so not for me. Guys, I felt like I was too old for this. I am in my 30s. If you are younger in age or in spirit and you like constant mentions of TikTok and pop culture references in your reads, this might be for you. But I have a spirit of an old hag, basically since I was born, and this was just so cringe for me to read. I got this audiobook as an ALC from the Libro FM, and the audiobook was great. There were 2 narrators, one for each character. Yeah, they were great. I did not have a problem with the audiobook itself, but with the writing style. So yeah, I simply was not the target audience, and I am so proud of myself to actually admit that and DNF the book when I was not enjoying it. If you are interested in queer gothic horror with a dead body, definitely give it a go. Okay, and the last book for today is What Moves the Dead, fantasy gothic horror. Yeah, I am in the gothic horror era right now. This was written by Kingfisher, and I have read many of her books in the past years, and except Nettle and Bone, none of them were working for me. But I suspected that the problem is not in the books, but in the audiobooks, or I would say audiobook narrators. Quite many of them have high voices for me, and I am quite sensitive to that, so I decided to try one more book by Kingfisher, but this time I would read it with my eyes. And I have realized that I do like Kingfisher books, but I like them in the written format. What Moves the Dead is the retelling of the Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. I did not know that when I picked the book, and I have not read that story before, so I did not know what to expect. Right from the beginning of the story, it is not hard at all to figure out what is going on, but the story was atmospheric and creepy. I really like the characters and the typical Kingfisher humor. I would say it was a perfect mashup of creepy and funny, but there were some descriptions that were quite unnerving and gory, and hairs, oh my, so creepy. It was again a book that I would say is perfect to read in October. There are 2 more books in the series right now, and they are not even that long, so I am quite excited to read the other 2 books in the series. I guess I did not tell you what this is about. We have the girl Alex. She is a retired soldier, and she receives a letter that her childhood friend is not really herself and that she is dying. So Alex immediately goes to their house, and that house is in quite a remote area, and everything is kind of weird and eerie around there. There is a lake that is kind of funky. It's a whole vibe. And she is trying to figure out what is going on, why her friend is acting the way she is. Strange things are happening, and there are mushrooms and weird hairs, and that's everything I will tell you. Because again, this is not that long and also quite predictable, but I would say this is quite worth it for the atmosphere. That's my review of What Moves the Dead. Guys, we need to talk about decoration, because how fun is this? I especially like this bottom section. Yeah, I thought it would be funny, this being titled Decomposition book, to make it kind of under the earth. I don't know. And I have used this yellow Jelly Roll pen, and it looks kind of sickly in this situation, and I absolutely love that. On top of this hill I put rabbits, because they were quite a big part of the What Moves the Dead. They are maybe not the best color-wise considering the full page, but if you look at only this section, this works well. I am quite happy with this page, even though at first glance it might not look much, but I love this. Okay, so in here, my initial idea was to make this border, and it looks so much more interesting than I thought it would. Then I was planning on doing my usual, having a book cover in here or in this corner and then some decoration around. But after I finished the border, I just put the cover on this page to not forget to use it, and it landed in the middle, and I was like, wait, that actually looks nice. So I went with that. And I love how this looks. It is simple, but I would say still beautiful, and it kind of matches the vibe of this book. Okay, next, the Toll and the Gleanings. I was not entirely sure what I was doing. I only knew that I would love to use this beautiful washi tape from the washi tape shop and maybe some blue paper. And then I found these stickers from the Izobova sticker book. I just thought they were perfect color-wise, and they also kind of match what is going on in the book as well. Also, these space rocks, they are here for a reason, guys, and I'm not going to tell you what that reason is. Also, my nails kind of match them. Oh yeah, I am so excited about my nails, if you can't tell. And I put this skeleton cat in there. It might be quite random, but I just wanted to introduce some kind of element of that in here, because this is still kind of cheerful. So yeah, this is here for that. It might not look like much, but I actually like how this page turned out, and it matches the story in many ways. Okay, Prison Healer. I was thinking about completely different decoration for the Prison Healer, but then I decided I wanted to have this sunflower washi tape all around the page, just as it is in here, and I matched it to the title, so the colors are kind of there. Then I found the sticker sheet from Marigona Suli, and you know what, it kind of works. She has a book and a satchel and some herbs or plants or flowers, so it kind of works with the healing profession. There is the potion, and there was also a cat in the story, so yeah, all of that matches, and I am happy with that. Also, I put the Prison Healer text on black washi tape, because here I have the same letters, but they are not that visible, so I thought I would experiment with black washi tape a bit, and I love how it looks. And the Priory of the Orange Tree, I was not talking about that in this video, but we can still admire the decoration. This is a sticker from Sibylline Maynette, and it is one of my favorite stickers she has ever done. It is just so beautiful. I chose this sunflower washi tape only because it was new and I was so excited about it, and it kind of matched the book cover and this sticker. And I am so happy with this page and this spread altogether. And okay, in here we have Deck of Tibiaraton. I have actually read 2 more books for this challenge, so we need to add these 2 in here. This was a reading challenge hosted by Becca and Chloe. It was so much fun. You could draw a card from your deck. I don't know where my deck of cards is, so I just used an online one. And based on what it spits out, you are reading for a prompt, and based on which prompt you choose, you get your points. And then you just sum them up, and that's about it. And the winning team, there were 4 teams. The winning team gets to decide something to do with Becca and Chloe's future video. So that's fun. It was my first time joining and I had a great time. I am adding 5 cards. In that I chose book with 4 words, so 4-word title, so I could have 5 points. And the ace is basically free pick, and I have gotten ace somewhere during the month, but I knew that by the end of the July I would not really know what to read and I would love to pick whatever, so I saved the ace for the end of the month. That was actually my last book read. And yeah, I think I've gotten 41 points. I guess our team, I was Team Spades, we were 2nd or 3rd, I'm not sure, but it was still a lot of fun. Okay, so here is the cover page. I still want to show you these remaining 3 books, even though I was not talking about them in this video. So this is the Cruel Prince. I adore this grass section in here. I think it's so fun, and these are fairies from Marigona Suli. I just love them so much. And the Wisdom of Crowds and the Great Change, they were part of my last month's reading wrap-up, and I love how this spread turned out. And it just made sense to add these book covers in here, because I did not really want to work on another spread for these 2 books when it was not needed, basically. So these are all the books we are going to work on now, and we are going to fill out all my monthly and yearly trackers. And first is my reading goal. So we need to pick a color, and I can't believe I have not used purple yet. So this is Tombow water-based marker number 623, and yeah, it is time to use purple, because as you can see, there is quite a lot of purple elements on this spread and in this whole journal. I have finished 9 books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 50 full books. That's amazing, guys. And we are so close to my yearly goal. I technically have read 10 books, but I'm not counting DNFs in here. So 50 it is. Okay, that is so butchered. The last one, and let's color in July. This is amazing. In here I need to add all the book covers, and I just love this spread so much. I think I will have that in every single one of my reading journals, because it looks so fun. And as you can see, my glue is running out. I guess I will have to find something else. Okay, I have this one. One of you did recommend this one to me after I was complaining about my glues. So let's see how this will perform. Gleanings, little in here, and yes, you might be asking why is Tall not next to Gleaning, and that's because I put book covers in here in the order I finished all those books. Do I have to do that? Totally not, but I love doing that, so that's why I am doing that. Okay, this sentence did not make any sense. Oh my god, guys. I am so out of it today, mostly because I have to talk. I did not say a word in the last 2 days, and I was having a great time. Yeah, so I am kind of like, what should I talk about? So I am just spewing nonsense, but that's fine. Am I missing a book cover? I am sure I have printed that one, so we might find it later. We might not. If I won't find it, I will print it again next month. But we are, guys, we are actually starting the next page. So amazing. And this looks so perfect. It would look even better if I had the book cover in here. But look at this, guys. Oh, I love this page so much. Next, we have reading statistics, and look at that, guys. This was my best reading month this year so far. I have read 1600 pages with my eyes. That is unheard of. I was so excited when I have read 1000 pages in April, and now reaching 1600. That's wild, guys. I would never guessed that would actually happen. I have also listened to audiobooks the most in July, which means I have read the most pages per day this month as well. So it's 129 pages daily. That's wild, guys. We have first DNF of the year, and the average rating is quite nice. I might have been maybe a bit harsh on those books in my reviews, but they were ultimately all okay, except the DNF'd one. They were not extremely special, but they were totally okay. Well, the Tall I absolutely loved, so that's that. Next we have what? I don't remember. trackers. Okay, we need some markers, and I have not prepared any of those. So these are all Tombow markers I own, and I will just be picking from those. First book I finished was actually Wisdom of Crowds. I was not talking about that in today's video, and that was fantasy. Then I read Cruel Prince, that I would say is 2 parts fantasy, maybe part romance, but there was some kind of romance in there, so I will color that in with this red that I have for romance. Next was fantasy. Those were the short stories from the Joe Abercrombie series, and Priory of the Orange Tree was also fantasy. Then there was Prison Healer and Decomposition book. Those were horrors. Let's add all my sci-fi books in here. And that was The Toll and Gleanings. Okay, let's just continue doing whatever. I can't believe I have not made a mistake in this tracker yet. So the time had to come. And it's fine. One dark window. That I would say was 1 part fantasy, 2 parts romance. I don't know, it was whatever. I am not entirely sure about this tracker, so it might not be here next year. We'll see. I like it, but I'm not sure if I like it enough to have it here next year as well. Maybe in different format, we'll see. Books by length. This time there are few longer books, which I am so excited about. We are starting with Wisdom of Crowds, and that was more than 500 pages long. How fun. Okay, The Cruel Prince was over 300 pages. Then Great Changes, that was quite short, 77 pages, so I'm using this light color for that. Next there is Priory. Oh yeah, we have first entry of book over 800 pages long, and I'm using this beautiful green color for that. Oh my god, it will stand out in this tracker so much. Look at that. You can't unsee that. It's beautiful. I love adding something new finally to these trackers. Okay, next, The Toll. That was another chunker that was more than 600 pages long. So that's another green color. This time it is this olive green. Oh, I love that. And then we have Prison Healer. That was a little over 400 pages. Decomposition book was over 300. What Moves the Dead was only 165 pages. Yeah, as I said, it is quite short and quite easy to read, but it did not need to be any longer. It was just perfect. Then Gleanings was another book over 400 pages. And the last one is One Dark Window, and that was 394 pages. If it was 7 pages more, we could use the same color, but it is not, and I am adding this pink in here. So yeah, as you can see, lots of pink is in there, but I am especially excited about these two. I have read few books that were over 600 pages long, 1 over 7, but The Priory was the first book over 800 pages long this year. In the past, I have read quite a few chunkers. Okay, we have more trackers for the year published. Okay, many of these were published around the similar time, so this will be quite easy. I have this green for books published between 2021 and 2023, and there were quite a few. Wisdom of Crowds, The Great Change, I'm going to just be skipping over. The Prison Healer, What Moves the Dead, Gleanings, and One Dark Window. I can't believe One Dark Window has been sitting on my shelves for 4 years. I have bought it right around time it was published because I got influenced by other people. Thankfully, I am not doing that much anymore. Next we have Cruel Prince, that was 2018. Another quite old book on my TBR. Well, old in the quotes, but it has been sitting on my shelves for quite a long time. And then we have, I guess, Priory and The Toll. I got kind of lost, but this should be alright. and then the Decomposition book that was this year's release. I have used the wrong color. I was supposed to use this beautiful dark purple. Well, at least it's the darkest color. Yeah, I am kind of out of it today, but it's fine. We have one more coloring tracker, and that's books by rating. Let's do 3 stars first, and 3 stars is purple. It's my favorite purple out of the markers I own. So that was Wisdom of Crowds, Priory, Gleanings, and One Dark Window. Did I actually give Prison Healer 3.5? Okay, I am demoting it to 3 as well. After I have made my review, I have realized that I did not enjoy it as much, and the ending made me so angry that I am knocking 1 full star for that. So then we have 4 stars. Okay, I had quite a few of those, which is again this green color. We are seeing a lot of that one today. 4 stars were Cruel Prince. I still can't believe I actually like that book. Oh yeah. And then the short stories, so The Great Change and What Moves the Dead. 4.5. I do not have that many 4.5 books this year, which is kind of saddening, not going to lie. The Toll. And then for the first time this year, we are introducing this red color to the books by rating tracker, and that is DNF. And it is almost in the middle of the page. It had to be done, and I'm kind of glad I made myself to DNF. Okay, these were all the trackers. I have read no classics and no non-fiction. And for series tracker, okay, where is my purple? Because we have so much to color in here. I have finished both books in the Arc of a Sight, so I can color this square in here as well. And let's not forget the July box at the top of the page. Then I have read the first book in the Shepherd King, and I'm going to DNF that series. So how do I make it noted in here? Let's do like an X. Oh, that's an ugly X, but okay. I'm sure I have more in here. I have started the Folk of the Air by Holly Black. That's the Cruel Prince one. And I also started the Thorn Soldier series. That's What Moves the Dead is the first book. I have colored in 5 squares today, guys, which is absolutely marvelous. That does not happen often. I colored in more only in June, where I went for a spree with Divergent books. Oh wait, I knew there is something more. The First Law World. I have not read that one yet. I am forgetting about those books since I have made the review for them last month. Why is this not working? I can't color in this because I accidentally skipped 1 book in the series. And I did not notice I can color in at least these last 2 books. So I did actually read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books from my series tracker. Marvelous. And I actually finished a series. Okay, read my shelf. And guys, I have finally made progress with reading books from my bookshelves, because this has been my progress for the whole 2026. Not much, yes. Today we are going to add as many books as are already in here. So let's do that. One Dark Window. Yeah, and so many of these books have been on my bookshelves for quite a long time, so I am happy I finally got around to them. Okay, there are chunks of glue coming off of this glue stick, and I feel like I have glue everywhere. Cruel Prince. Priory of the Orange Tree. Oh my god, they are all in one line. That's so fun. Next we have lots of glue on my fingers again. The Toll. Okay, that's down here. And Gleanings is right next to that. This looks already so much better. And I hope to read much more by the end of the year, but we'll see how many I will get to. Okay, next are my Libro FM purchases. You can see there is a small edition in here because I did not really have any more space to write down my books in here, so I just used the same washi tape and added a bit of the same paper that is in here. I cut it off from my old notebook. It seems to be working. It is kind of awkward, but I think it is totally fine. I have listened to the Prison Healer. Okay, that's here. Oh, guys, if this was bingo, we would have a bingo. And then I have the Decomposition book. Perfect. This side is blank, and it just means I was too lazy to do this for both sides. So there is still more space to write down audiobooks. I have gone quite crazy on Libro.fm, but that's totally fine. I unsubscribed from my Audible, so I am not getting any more books in Audible, which means I am getting even more books from Libro.fm, which I am happy about, so there is not a problem in that. I was not listening to anything on Audible. Now for books bought. Guys, I have to show you what I got. I have seen these books. Okay, will they fit? Maybe. I have seen someone hauling these books, and I told myself that I have to have this. I have listened to the VR Legion, VR Pop 3 years ago, maybe. I have listened to the first book and the second book, and I soft DNF'd that series. But I kid you not, guys, I keep thinking about this series quite a lot. So I bought books, and I am even more excited to read those now. So this is the first one. Beautiful, but look at this, so amazing. And the edge, yeah and the other side, so beautiful. And the artist is and paper illustration by Maciek Wolański. I hope I said it right. Anyway, these are just beautiful. What I find even more interesting, and that will make easier for me to read this book, is that I have noticed the full kind of list of all the bobs and everything that was happening. This, I think, will make it so much more easy to follow what was going on. Because to me, it was a lot. And for someone who does not quite get pop culture references, it was a lot. But it was still amazing. And these are narrated by Ray Porter, who narrates Project Hail Mary. That's how I discovered these books. And yeah, I am so excited to continue that series again. Look at those. And this is the author. Oh, I loved it. At least I think there is some resemblance between those two. And the cat, so cute. Also, we have another Sprayed Edge. In the last one, this is the one I have not read yet. And we have, once again, this big illustration in here. Again, bobs on the side. And yeah, that is just beautiful. I have to look up this artist because his art is so pretty and I love all the colors and the style overall. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you for, I guess, like 3 weeks since I've had these books. So that was a surprise mini haul. And I have written all of those 3 books in here. And I don't know, guys. I now don't know if I should color in with gray or something, books that I have already read and bought them afterwards, or what I should do. I've also decided to write down everything I bought and have already read down here. So this is kind of confusing for me right now. And I don't know what to do about it. But at least I have a list of everything I have bought this year so far. And it is not much, guys. A few years ago, I have bought like 100 books a year. And now I am not, because I am not keeping up with them and I would love to. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's continue on the next page. And here we have DNFs and Hall of Fame. It's pretty clear. I will have to add the composition book in here. And to the Hall of Fame, I am adding the Toll. I had great time with this book. I have read it in 5 or 6 days and it is like 600 pages. I might have read it even quicker. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you can hear some kind of noise or music, but I have a neighbor that lives 2 stories under me. 2 stories. And he loves to put on music loud. So I'm sorry if you are hearing that, but I want to finish filming this. So I hope it is okay with you guys and that it is not too distracting. I will try to talk louder. Okay, next we have 26 in 2026. After June, I looked at all of these book covers and I have decided that there are a few I actually have absolutely no interest in reading anymore. So I did switch a few of the book covers in here. In case you have noticed something is different, I do not expect you to. I myself had sometimes no idea what exactly is in here, so I'm not expecting you to, but in case there was something you were interested in me reading and it is not here anymore, that's the case. Anyway, I am adding the Cruel Prince in here. I am so happy I can add something in here. Finally, again. The next one is the Toll, which is here in the top. Okay, so I have read 9 books out of 26, which, guys, is great. I'm not expecting to read everything, and 9 out of 26 is good. And there are a few books I'm itching to read, but I never have time. Okay, next, Read the Rainbow. There is nothing, but thank you guys so much. In one of the last videos, I said I can't find any book with a lilac cover, and you have given me some great ideas, so thank you so much for that. A to Z challenge in here. I am going to put one dark window on top of the obelisk gate because one dark window does not have D in there, so I think it matches more. I don't really mind having D in the beginning of the title, but if I can find something that does not have that, I will cover the book cover with that. The new entry is Gleanings. Finally, something for G. And then I am also adding the Toll because, yeah, I don't think I would consider 2 clutch eraser being here for the T. I don't know why I did put that there, but this is rectified and this challenge looks quite good. So next, okay, bingo, I am so excited. We are going to color in few prompts. What do we have? I am coloring in Didn't See That Coming. And when I was setting up this challenge, I thought I would be like excited about something or that would something amazing happen, but I am using this prompt for the prison healer and it's ending because I did not see that coming. So yeah, that's that. And we can fill in B2 and that is here. Perfect. So let's put that in there. And I have one more and that is the Cruel Prince for TBR Veteran. I have had that for maybe 5 years. I'm not sure when that book came out. And we can add that in N2. So that is in here. Okay, guys, we got a bingo today. That's so amazing. Oh yeah, I love how these 2 columns are completely filled in. And we have just 5 more prompts to fill in. And I was going to add Made Me Sob or Cry for one of the books in here, but in August I have read one that made me sob even more. So I decided to add that one in here next month. Next we have arcs. I'm putting Decomposition book in here. And I've written DNF in the stars in the middle, just so I know why there is no star rating. Is that it for today? No, there is one more thing. I have said in the intro that I have read some of your recommendations and we can do check marks for them in here. I think they were somewhere here. Yeah, What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. That was recommended by Daphne. So thank you, Daphne. And the what? One Dark Window was recommended by Confused Look. So thank you so much. And I think that's it. I'm so excited I could read some more of your recommendations. I guess that's all for all my reviews today. So let's again do a quick flip through of all the reviews. I have to flip back to the Cruel Prince because there was one spread left last month and I wanted to fill out that spread, so that's here. Then we have the cover page, which is one of my favorites, I'm not going to lie. the calendar and deck of the Marathon challenge, and now the book reviews. Guys, I think this month I have done my favorite spreads ever. There is not one that I strongly dislike, which is amazing. So yeah, let me know what were your favorite reads of July, or maybe what were your least favorite reads of July. Write it all down in the comments, and have absolutely lovely day, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.